change. We'll let you know these key constituencies and what to expect in those constituencies. We want you to be part of this conversation. As always, send us a message via Facebook or Twitter. Remember to add the hashtag Voters Diary. If you want to send us a message via WhatsApp, we will welcome those messages as well. The numbers are currently on the screens of your TV set. So if you live in the Upper West region, do send us a message and tell us who you think will be winning the elections there. We'll be right back. Hey, welcome back to the Voters Diary. My name is Vivian Kai Loco. So to have today's conversation on the Upper West region, I'm going to be joined by Anat Saidu. He's a man on that region as well as the other regions up north. He's also a security correspondent here at Citi FM and Citi TV. Anat, welcome.
Thank you, Vivian.
So Upper West region, that's where you're from?
Yes.
Where exactly are you from in the Upper West? Kaleo. Okay. How is Kaleo?
Kaleo is fine.
Okay. So I'm going to, first of all, go to that constituency. You know, the two major runners in this year's elections, the NDC's John Mahama, as well as the NPP's Nana Akufo-Addo, have been there already. I'm sure they'll go there again before we go to the polls on the 7th of December. But what have they been telling the people of the Upper West region? Let's find out.
The president started the two-day working visit to the Upper West region with a courtesy call on the leader of the Muslim community in Wa, where he commiserated with the family of a new patriotic party stalwart, Alhaji Yakubu Saidu. He then moved to address members of the Upper West Regional House of Chiefs, where he revealed that government will construct 5 new district hospitals in the Upper West region.
I'm happy to inform you that as part of government's Agenda 111, which seeks to build district hospitals in districts without hospitals, in the course of the next 12 months, government will construct district hospitals in the following districts without them in the Upper West region. They are Dafiama, Busi, Isa, Wa East, Lambusi, Kani, Sisala West, and Wa West districts. There are 2,163 projects being executed in the region, with 1,299 completed, and the remaining 864 ongoing. Out of the 1,299 completed projects, 112 are in the educational sector, 48 in the health sector, 31 in the road sector, and 256 in the water and sanitation sectors.
The outgoing president of the Upper West Regional House of Chiefs, Kuro Richard Babni Cantun the Sif, decried the deplorable nature of roads in the region.
This year, being a year of roads, we will be grateful if these roads are included on the list of the critical roads to be constructed. Your Excellency, majority of the population in the region are peasant farmers and dependent solely on seasonal rains. We, the people of the Upper West region, in this regard, totally support the chiefs and people of the Lora traditional area to activate plans for the development of the Kamba irrigational project to ensure it becomes one of the government's flagship programs in the region.
The president then moved to Manwe in the Wa East district, where he appealed to the people to renew his mandate. He began his last day with a courtesy call on the paramount chief of the Wala traditional area, Na Saidu Hussein Pilpo the Safe.
The Wa Central constituency is by far the largest constituency in the region. there is a need to split it into two. In addition to this, we would appreciate it if the Wa Municipal Assembly, which is by far the largest in the region, is upgraded to a metropolis. Both actions will improve the status of this traditional area and allow for its rapid development. Your Excellency, recently we had an unfortunate incident at Budairi where food and cash crops were destroyed. We were very grateful for the timely intervention of the regional NADMO office. We, however, realized that the NADMO office could not respond to the disaster situations in the region with the same alacrity. The reason is simple. The office is poorly resourced with relief items.
Speaking at a debate to commission a multi-million-dollar solar project at Laura, the president appealed to the people to vote massively for the NPP in the December elections.
It was because of the promises that I made and also the poor governance of this country by the then president, John Dramani Mahama, the two things combined to allow the people of Ghana to give me the massive vote that I received on the 7th of December 2016. Today, the situation is not the same. I've now had nearly 4 years of administering this country and managing its affairs. So I can no longer depend on just promises. I have to put into issue before you my record over these 4 years. And I believe that record points to a leader and a government that has stood and been faithful to its commitments to the people of this country. The overwhelming number of commitments and promises that I made have been fulfilled. And I can stand before you, the people of Ghana and the people of Laura and the Upper West, and say that I have kept faith and have proved to be an honest man, a man of integrity who did not come to deceive you about the government.
The president also cut short for the Dikwe Bridge and ended his tour at Hamley, where he commissioned a small town water project for the people. It was a sight to behold as people from all walks of life massed up the streets to catch a glimpse of former President John Dramani Mahama as he wrapped up his 4-day campaign tour of the Upper West region. Some of the communities he visited include Erimong, Babli, Laura, Zambo, Brefo, Dafiama and Issa.
Prominent among our cry for development is the inadequate infrastructure for our only senior high school in the community. The Brefo Senior High School, which was started during the last NDC administration, the school currently begs for boarding facilities, classrooms, a kitchen, and essential facilities to complement its status as a boarding school. To add to the above, it has been a critical call for the government of Ghana to help maximize the potential of the black water which runs through our community by establishing an irrigation scheme for the use of the community. This would afford our rural farmers the opportunity to farm all around the year, thereby improving the livelihood of our rural folk. Also, our desire to see that the stretch of road linking Brefo and Babli part cannot be overemphasized. Not forgetting the road that links Brefo to Kunikwan, the Fofoe Bridge, and the route through to the main road of Laura.
The NDC's flag bearer charged the people not to fall prey to what he termed as lofty promises by the governing MPP, but vote massively for the NDC. He said that will be the only way to boot out the NPP for their failure to honor their promises to the electorate.
In 2016, all kinds of promises were flying around. One district, one factory. $1 million per constituency per year. One village, one dam. One child, one chocolate. Normally when you hear these promises, they sound very sweet to the ear. But the point is, you diminish the faith of our people in our democracy when you do that. Because you know you cannot deliver this promise. $1 million per constituency per year. In 2016, 2017, when I handed over the administration of this country to Nana Addo, $1 was going for about 4 cedis. So let's even say we fixed the exchange rate at 4 cedis. So each year, $1 million, that's 4 million Ghana cedis. Times 4 years, that's 16 million. If you had 16 million, couldn't you have built your factory here in Laura by yourselves? But they say when a frog dies, that is when we know the length of the frog. The MPP frog is dying, so now we can measure it. If your factory hasn't come, it is not coming again. If your $1 million hasn't come, it is not coming again. If your dam hasn't come, it is not coming. But even those who got the dams, dry season, we went around and looked at them, the dams were dry. And as the rain has even come, the ones that were not dry, the rain has washed the dams away.
The former president rounded up his tour with a meeting with the Zongo community in Wa, where the chief, Alhaji Abubakar Siddiq Jiwa, expressed concerns over neglect by the Zongo Development Ministry.
The Zongo fund that was launched in Upper West with a fear of missing away, with a fear of victimization, because that is the trademark of Blue Control. Each single individual here represents a house. If any person among them can come out and boldly say, I have received a benefit of it, there will not be okay for the person to come. So, Mr. Incoming President, we don't get up and wash our faces. We are seeing. We will special thank you on December 7th.
I can assure the nation that we're not going to deploy vigilantes. We're not going to carry weapons on election day. We are counting on the people of Ghana to protect the ballot box.
So that's ex-President John Mahama in the Upper West region campaigning. Earlier you saw the current president, Nana Akufo-Addo, also campaigning in the Upper West region. But how key is this region? Anas Saidu is here with me. Also here with me is Selim Adonu, our head of features and articles here at Citi TV and Citi FM. Anas, what's special about Upper West region? All the candidates are running to that region.
Thank you very much. I think if you look at the figures over the years, maybe the past 3 elections, you realize that Upper West is a place to look out for, and it's a place presidential candidates should focus on, because in 2016 something happened that nobody expected. The most votes, the most seats the MPP has ever gotten from the region, 3, has been 3. In 2012, the MPP had 0 seats in the Upper West region. 4 years later, they claimed 5.
We moved to 5 from 0.
From 0 to 5.
What led to that?
A lot of factors. A lot of factors. First of all, voter fatigue, voter apathy was that. Because if you look at the 2012 figures for President John Dramani Mahama, when he won the election, in the Upper West region, he had 186,000 votes, plus votes in the Upper West region. The MPP had 83,000 plus votes in the Upper West region. In 2016, President John Dramani Mahama had 167. He dropped from 186 to 167. In the 2016 election. Nana Addo appreciated from 83,000 to 103,000 in the region. It tells you that if the same voters for President John Dramani Mahama in 2012 were repeated, he would have been able to maintain the 186 and not drop to 167. So there was voter apathy, clearly. People didn't come out to vote. Secondly, in the areas where these things happened, where these deeds were taken, for instance, in the Laura constituency, which we'll be talking about later, there were issues between the then incumbent MP and the then director of elections when the primaries happened, Bizaden and Samson Abu. In the Nandom constituency, the legend Ben Kumbo bowed out of campaign, politics, and handed over the baton to the then DCE. He couldn't survive Ambrose Derry. There were issues. You go to Wa East. Wa East, there were a lot of issues with the then MP there, Salifu Amin, and they couldn't fix these. You go to Sisala East. There was a time the MP and the NDC chairman there had a fight.
The same 2016?
Same 2016. It became physical.
Wow.
They were taken, some people were injured, they were taken to the hospital, people were taken to the police station and all that. So there were internal issues, parties were fighting, there was voter apathy, people didn't come out a lot to vote, and the promises of the then opposition, like the free senior high school. If you look at the poverty index, you will know that the Upper West region is among the poorest regions, if not the poorest, in the country. So for you to be told that if I get the opportunity to come to power, you no longer struggle to get 700 cedis or 1,000 to pay for your war school fees, then you know that it's a kind of relief to you. And there were people who actually fell for these promises. Upper West is a farming region. They do a lot of farming, but the farming is just one season. During the dry season, there are a lot of farmers out there. There's no work for them to do. So if we promise them dams, and they had the hope that every village or most of the villages were going to get dams, it means during the dry season they could do a lot of farming, produce vegetables, and sell. That would have been additional income to them. So these promises, I think, resonated with the people, and they were happy with that. So these are some of the factors.
But these dams, I mean, if you look at the ex-president's campaign, he was talking about these dams, because from what you are saying, then the dam, the one district, one factory, the policies promised by the NPP at the time was something big for them, and he was even hammering on the fact that they were made those promises, but really they've not gotten those promises. You were there a couple of months back, and then you've also been going there. What is the situation with the policies? Have they really been done, or is not?
You can't say entirely that these policies were executed or not, because largely some of them have been executed. For instance, the One Village, One Dam, when we went to the Upper West region, there were sites that we visited that dams had been completed. There were sites that we visited that dams were still under construction. So that project is ongoing. We went to some other regions that I saw people use these dams a year ago, somewhere in the Upper East region and Northeast. Some dams were completed about a year ago, but in the Upper West region, I didn't see more of that. So if you hear the former president talking about the dams and telling the people that they've not received the dams that they actually advocated or they fell for as a campaign promise, that's what he's actually talking about. We went to a place like Domini in the Laura constituency. The dam was not completed. But if you look at it, it will seem like a completed dam. You speak to the people and the people say, our expectation was big. Because if this is a dam they are coming to give to us, it will not survive the dry season. These are people who understand how things work as far as irrigation is concerned. They are farmers. They've been farming all their lives. But when we spoke to the contractor on record, he made us understand that it is still under construction. There were things they were supposed to do, but it was because of the rainy season, it had collected water, and it seemed a completed dam. So in some areas, these dams are there, but in a lot of areas, the dams are not there. The understanding was that every village will benefit.
Yeah.
But you go to a district like the Naduli Kaliu district, and you are having about 6 communities benefiting. Meanwhile, there are more other farming communities that were expectant or who wanted to benefit from such policies. So basically, these were some of the things that resulted in the gains of the MPP in 2016.
Okay, let me bring it in, Salam. So the Upper West region, from what Anas is saying, a very key region, isn't it, in this whole political discussion?
Yes, the Upper West region is a very important region even in Ghana's political history. In the 1950s, there were key personalities like B.K. Adama, Jato Kaliu, Kabo, the popular S.D. Dombo, and all those people coming from that region, and they played very important roles in what our democracy is today. 1956 elections, you have persons like B.K. Adama, Jato Kaliu, and Kabo going to parliament, and even when Kwame Nkrumah, through his PDA and ADA, tried to suppress resistance and dissent, among certain opposition elements, how BK, Adama, Jato, and Kabo and Co. tried to scheme to join the CPP and later went back to their own party just to remain relevant, are interesting scenarios. In the 1960s, 69, for example, when it became apparent that the smaller opposition parties had to merge, I mean, the Northern People's Party and all those parties had to come together to form the UP. S.D. Dombo, who was from Jirapa, which is in the region, became the deputy to Buzia. And that is why when you hear about the MPP's tradition, you hear about Buzia Dankwa Dombo tradition. So that is the Dombo person. So he became a deputy to Buzia. So when Buzia was in exile, he was the one leading the party. Okay. So very, very relevant and influential person there. However, fast forward into the the Fourth Republican era, the NDC has dominated politics in that area. Suffice to say that in 1979, in the Third Republic, we had the president of the land coming from that region, from Gulu, that is Dr. Hilaliman, very distinguished gentleman who came from that area, won that 1979 election, went for a runoff and defeated persons like Victor Wusu, etc. So if you check it properly, you realize that very key personalities have come from that area. And so that area is very politically active. They've been around for a while, even though at some point it used to be called the Upper Region, but it became the Upper East and Upper West. So in 1992, we had persons like S.K. Babin now getting into parliament, the longest serving member of parliament from the Nadoli North area, NDC winning all the 8 seats in that region. In 1996 also, NDC won all the 8 seats in that area. In the 2000 election, we had PNC's Daniba, who is now the chairman of that party. He won 1 seat, and NDC won the 7 other seats. So that was when we saw persons like Edward Salia and Ben Kumbo, etc., getting into parliament, the 2001 parliament. In 2004, we saw a split in some of the constituencies. So the Sisala constituency became the Sisala East and Sisala West constituency. The Wa Central became the Wa Central constituency, and then the Wa West constituency. Out of these, so we now have 10 constituencies. Okay. Initially, it was 8. NDC won 7. The MPP won 1. The PNC won 2. Daniba, who is still the chairman of this PNC, was one of those persons. And then one gentleman called Bayega Haruna, of the PNC, he also won 1. In 2008, the MPP came to win 2 seats. PNC won 1, NDC won 7. In 2012, the constituencies grew to 11. The Laura Nandong constituency was split into Laura and Nandong. And so the NDC won 10 seats, and there was 1 independent in Jirapa. So from 2016, it shifted. The MPP now came to win 5 seats, and NDC won 6, like Anas rightly pointed out. So it is an interesting region, though the numbers are not as high as you expect, and the voter population is not as high as other parts of the country. But certainly, there's a lot of activity in that area, and certain constituencies like Laura, Nadoli, etc., are very, very interesting. I'm sure as the discussion grows,
we'll look at those constituencies.
But let me also add that in the presidential, MPP won only 2 constituencies, but in the parliamentary, they won 5. So what happened was certain constituencies in that area did this skirt and blouse thing. So Nandom, for example, did skirt and blouse. Sisala wears this skirt and blouse, and Laura also did skirt and blouse. So I think that is just some information.
From 2016, when the narrative changed for the MPP, all throughout, the NDC had quite some grip on the region. What were they doing right to, and why was the region leaning towards the NDC during that period?
Okay, I think it's not peculiar to the Upper West region alone.
Okay.
It is a northern thing, talking about the dominance of the NDC, things or the events that happened in 1992, with the MPP then boycotting the elections, the parliamentary elections, of course, and the activities or the developmental projects that former president or late president J.J. Rawlings took to the Upper West, Upper East, and Northern region. Now we have Savannah and Northeast. As of 1997, the Upper 96 rather, the Upper West region was not connected to the national grid. Okay. The entire region. It took
as of 96.
96 as of the election. There was a standby plant that supplied power to some parts of the regional capital. It took former President Jerry John Rawlings to bring electricity to the place. He was friends with a lot of the chiefs in the area. The then chief of Kaliu, Nabanangune Sandu II, was a very good friend of former President Jerry John Rawlings. The chief even became the national vice chairman of the House of Chiefs. There were conversations between himself on live TV, speaking our language, and there was somebody interpreting to former President Rawlings. These were the kind of thing that he did to actually connect with the people. Because of his friendship with these chiefs, anytime he visited the region between 92 when he was campaigning, 96 and 2000, anytime he visited the region and visited communities for campaigns, he held his campaign or rallies at the chief's palace.
Okay.
He would go there, the people would come and he would address them there. And as we speak now, it's still a practice. You see most it's like a convention. You see most political figures go into the northern part to do politics, and you see them campaigning or holding their derba or rallies at the chief's palace. He set the pace because they were his friends. And he also ensured that he said he wanted to be communicating with them regularly. So he connected these then one touch telephone to them, so that they had these landlines that they could communicate to him, tell him what's happening in their locality, what they wanted. He could communicate to them at any time. So they had some in Laura, Drapa, Kaliu, and almost all the paramountcies in the region then had these things. And also he ensured that those that he could, he tarred the roads to their place. Even in the paramountcy that he couldn't get tarred road connecting to their place, their communities, he ensured that in the town was tarred. This was how he connected with them. A lot of people that were drinking from dams, rivers, had guinea worm and stuff. He brought in boreholes, DCs, MPs. There were a lot of work to transform the entire place. So, for instance, it was between this time that GBC established its radio, and the first radio station for that matter in the Upper West region.
That's right.
Between the 96-2000 period. So he did a lot of work there, coupled with the MPP's decision to boycott the elections that happened in the 1992, and so they didn't field parliamentary candidates. But on the part of the NDC, they had parliamentary candidates in all the constituencies that were into the elections. And this was what happened. You are going to vote. They give you a paper with names and photos. On the side of the NPP, you are not seeing anybody that you can relate with. There are posters all around. There's nobody that you can relate with. It was Professor Edu Buahine's photo there, J.J. Rawlings there. But when you look at the parliamentary, there were people with the umbrella who were speaking your language. So, for instance, in the Wa Central constituency, you have M.A. Seidu, who was known, and he spoke the language. He was with them. In the Nadoli Kaleo constituency, they had the opportunity to have Bagwin was there, Abang Bagwin was there. So the people related more with the NDC, coupled with the things that Rawlings did. Even as of 2000, there were people within the Upper West region, the northern part of the country, who felt that Rawlings shouldn't have left power. He should have contested.
They loved him because of the things he did
for them.
Okay. All right, I'll take a quick break. When I come back, we'll look at some key constituencies in the Upper West region and what it will be like, and also look at the issues they will consider this time round to vote for a particular candidate. Stay with us, we'll be right back.
Ghana goes to the polls on December 7th, and Citi TV gets to work. From 6 a.m. on December 7th, bringing you all the action and reports, with our correspondents covering all 275 constituencies. Be assured of exhaustive and definitive coverage of Ghana's 2020 presidential and parliamentary elections. Our team of seasoned journalists will dissect the issues and give minute-by-minute account of the election. Bernard Avler, Vivian Kai Loko, Kojo Akoto Boateng, Nathan Kwa, Frema Edrinyame, Abena Nyameche Ampedu, Salom Adonu, Umaru Sanda Amadou, Zoe Abubedu, Duke Mensa Opoku, Nana Tufo. The Election Bureau, Ghana's election covered. Coverage starts at 6 a.m. on December 7th on Citi TV and 97.3 Citi FM.
Welcome back to the Voters Diary. My name is Vivian Kai. Look, I'm here with Selam Adonu as well as Anas Seidu. We're talking about the Upper West region, why this region is important for this year's elections, which is a few days away. So, Anas, what are the key constituencies to look out for this year's election? You've talked about the fact that in 2016, the NPP were able to capture 5 of the seats, which is an historical, development. Will it be the same? Will they increase? And which ones should we look out for?
Looking at the region, I will take Nadoli Kaleo constituency 1.
Bagben's constituency?
Yes.
Okay.
Let me just mention them,
okay.
Then I will take them one of the Nadoli Kaleo, Wa Central, Laura constituency, and then Sisala East.
Okay.
These are my 4 constituencies to look out for in the region.
Okay.
Let's take Nadoli Kaleo for instance.
Okay.
In that constituency, they've voted or they've always had one candidate. It's always been Bagwin. He's represented the constituency from 92 till date. He's going out of parliament. There's somebody representing him. Anthony Suma. Anthony Suma is like the new kid in the block because he's coming up against Elvis Botta of the MPP who contested against Bagwin in 2016.
Okay.
And also against Bernard Mona, the former national chairman of the PNC. He also contested the 2016 elections in the constituency. Talking about electoral experience, you put Elvis Botta ahead because this is the first time the MPP in the Nadoli Kaleo constituency is repeating a parliamentary candidate. In 1996, it was Emmanuel Barnier. In 2000, they brought in Pauline Nempwen. 2004, it was Daniel Baga. 2008, they brought in Wing Commander Eric Dakra. Then 2012, it was Dr. Boy Bandi. 2016, Elvis Botta Abanoemule. So Elvis is getting the opportunity now again to represent the MPP as the parliamentary candidate. For the first time, this is happening. And also on the part of the NDC, this is the first time they're also changing a candidate.
Okay.
So in terms of campaign management, campaign leadership, there's a change on the NDC side. But Anthony Suma is not just he's not a walkover. Because if we look at the primaries that he won, coming into the race some months or a few years into the Nadoli Kaleo race, he was able to defeat 6 other contenders. These were stronger people in the constituency in terms of NDC's politics. Dr. Kamitaba Izie, Martin Lucas, who was the then constituency organizer when the primaries happened. So he came, and after his victory, that was where people got to know his worth as a politician in the constituency. You go to the PNC Bernard Mona, he contested and had 5,000. Talking about Upper West, his experience in Upper West politics, he contested twice in Wa Central before he moved to Nadoli Kaleo. So he's contesting his 4th election, parliamentary elections in the Upper West region. So he has a lot of experience. That's why I think that...
So who would have raised the race really? I know there are 3 candidates. If we narrow it down to 2.
No, it will be very difficult.
We can't do 2.
It's a 3-horse race because Elvis of the MPP is coming with 9,000 votes that he had in the 2016 elections.
Okay.
Bernard Mona is coming with the 5,000 votes that he had in the 2016 elections. Anthony Suma is coming with the support of Bagwin.
Is he getting the support? Is Bagwin on the campaign with him?
For, I think, 4 weeks ago, Bagwin was in the constituency. He was with him, and they went around to campaign together.
But the people, if Bagwin had gone again, would he have won? Does Bagwin still have the people supporting him for him to influence a new person's success in this election?
There was a group called Movement for Change, and the kind of thing they were doing to ensure that Bagwin failed at the primaries.
Okay.
If they failed and he succeeded in the primaries, he was going to win the general elections.
Okay. The parliamentary elections?
Yes, he was going to win the parliamentary elections if he succeeded in the primaries, because there was a lot of movement. And this group that I'm talking about is made up of NDC people, MPP people, people who were not in politics. They came together, contributed money, just to ensure that they don't get Bagwin back to parliament again. So there were
and why did they want him out?
Because he's been there too long. He's made a lot of friends and also a lot of enemies. So his enemies on that part were fighting him. So for me, the Nadoli Kaleo seat is very crucial. All the 3 people are in the race, all of them. And also don't forget that Elvis made this 9,000 in opposition with little funding.
Okay.
2 days ago, he drove 3 ambulances into the constituency to be distributed. According to his people, he's claiming that these are things that he purchased himself or lobbied for, or whatever you want to term. So Nadoli Kaleo is key.
Okay.
The second is Laura constituency. Anthony Cabo came, contested, and against Bede. and then Samson Abu as independent candidate. After the NDC's internal primaries, they had issues, and Samson Abu felt that he was cheated. The regional party executives could not solve the problems there. National party executives came, and he decided he was contesting as an independent candidate. If we look at the result, it points to one thing, that but for Samson Abu, Bizeden was going to be elected as the MP for the area, but Cabo won. Fast forward, 2020, they've made amends. Samson Abu is now the campaign manager for Bizeden. The strongest place, or where the NDC always get more of its votes or support, is Babli. Few days ago, the chairman of the constituency, Alhaji Mohammed Donko, was suspended. The allegations against him were that he was using the party's official vehicle to campaign for Nanado, but he was rooting or also campaigning for Bizeden because he had issues with the MP.
Okay.
But what I can say is that Anthony Cabo, between 2016 and now, has also done a lot in the constituency. For instance, there was a road under construction before the NDC party left office. And as Deputy Minister for Roads, the road had been continued and completed. That is the Nadoli, Babli, Laura, Nandom to Hambili Road. He's claiming glory for it. There was a solar project that Nanado commissioned. He's also telling the people that he was the one who lobbied for it to come. There's a girls' senior high school in Zambo under construction. He is claiming that he lobbied for it to come. So looking at that, you can't say that simply because Samson Abu is coming back to support Bid Zeden, it's a cool job for Bid. No, it will be a very tough contest between the two in the Laura constituency.
But Cabo was a team, there are a number of issues. I mean, just a few days ago, one of the executives were suspended for allegedly being in bed with the opposition. And then they even said they're happy they suspended him early, because if they had left him, he would have given out some of the strategy. That won't affect his chances?
Vivian, if based on precedents, I don't think that will affect them much. For instance, the MPP, the National MPP, suspended the then chairman Afoko and general secretary, and they went high to win the election. So sometimes it depends on, you weigh. If I suspend him, what will I lose? Comparing that to if I leave the person to be in charge.
Okay.
I spoke to somebody close to the chairman, and the person was telling me that there are issues that we can't put out on TV or on radio. But for a chairman to go out and say, I'm campaigning against my parliamentary candidate, and I'm using the party's resources to do that, it means there's a big question that needs to be answered.
Okay.
So on Laura, it's still not decided.
Also another interest. Okay, before I let you go to the other constituencies, let me take some few messages. A lot of your region guys have sending us message. This one says, Radio Progress was the first radio station in Upper West. It was established in 1996, like you said, and it was followed by the Radio Upper West, which became operational in 2001. Jacob Derry says, he's from WA, he says NDC will win the region, but MPP votes will increase from the 2016 results, and Hawa Humo will defeat Rashid Pelpo in WA Central constituency. Okay. This one says, Kinsley from WA, he says MPP have improved in Upper West region, and I bet you they are going to flip the region in this year's election, you say. Basit from WA also says the people of the Upper West region, specifically WA Central constituency, are fully aware of what the NDC has done for the region at large, and we are forever grateful to the NDC. Let me tell the MPP to forget about the WA Central seat, because we, the citizens, know that the Honorable Rashid Pelpo has done for us a lot, and we are ready to renew his mandate. And he says we should be ready to also address Anthony Cabo as the former MP. He believes he's going down. Okay, we'll see. This one says, Ibrahim from Tamale says, Nanado has done enough for us to call him the Northern President. All the initiatives implemented by this government are in our favor. 4 more for Nana to do more. This one says, hi Vivian, I'm enjoying the program. Say hi to Selam for me. From what I'm gathering, JM is winning. This is Becky inside Techima says, hi, Selam. This is from Matthew. He says, good afternoon, Vivian. If the former president is complaining about the size of the dams, what did he do when he was in office? Half a loaf is better than none. This is Desmond in Pandai. You say greetings to us. Okay, hi, Desmond. So that's it over there. So which other constituencies should we look for? While Central appears to be one that is interesting. This is where Po is, right?
Rashid Po.
Yes.
And this particular contest will be very difficult for him. Very, very difficult.
Why? He's lost the grip?
He won the 2016 elections with a little over 500 votes, less than 1,000. And Wa Central, if you look at the figures, the dynamics and everything in that constituency, and the person he's going up, he's up against
Hawa Humo.
Hajia
Humo. Who is she?
Awudu. She's a philanthropist.
Okay.
She entered the constituency as somebody who came to help the people. She established Hajia Humo Foundation.
Okay.
Before she contested the primaries, she was giving freebies to people. She organized women, give them startups. She did a lot of things in the constituency. So when she even came up and made it public that she was coming to contest the primaries, then people were like, okay, so all the free things you were doing were not just for free, you wanted something. But I think that was a very smart way of going into the politics of Wa Central. And if you look at the politics there, it's quote unquote a men's game in the Wa Central constituency. The politics is dirty, people will do everything to win. So they can start from your family background, they can talk about it on radio freely, they can talk about your personal issues, they will bring things up about you that you don't even know about yourself. So it's a very tricky constituency.
And how come she's been able to, apart from the things she was given?
Yeah, but she came up against some big people, strong guys. The current MC contested him. He was a parliamentary candidate for the 2016 elections. He defeated him. Orison, a whole lot of people contested her, but she was able to
sail through.
And if you look at the things or what's happening now, over the years in the Wa Central constituency, I've never seen any parliamentary candidate of the MPP, even when the MPP is in government, calling Rashid Pelpo out for a debate or saying let's compare what that parliamentary candidate or the government has done compared to Rashid Pelpo. But Hajia Humo will come out and say that I've been able to do this number of boreholes, I've initiated the construction of roads. Rashid Pelpo come and tell the people what you've done. So it's a very tough contest for Rashid. People are campaigning now, unlike the previous years. People will come, and there's this religious card that always play out in the Wa Central constituency. Okay. It will also be difficult for Rashid Pelpo because it's like himself and Hajia Humo, they are from the same set. So very, very, very tough competition there in the Wa Central constituency. Looking at the numbers in 2016 and what Hajia Humo is doing compared to the previous candidates.
Okay, we have just about 2 minutes to go. Let's wrap up with Sisala East and then...
Sisala East, the NDC's candidate, for me, personally, I have nothing against him, but I think that the race is between the MPP's candidate, who is the Deputy Upper West Regional Minister, Isaku Hamidu Chenia, and then the PNC's candidate, Kingsley Campton. Don't forget that the Sisala area belongs to the PNC traditionally, because that's where Dr. Hilary comes from. So it's a traditional PNC area. Moses Daniba became the MP for the area. So those are the two people, because Chinia contested the seat some time back, lost it, and he's coming again. Kingsley contested last year and beat, he came second He beat the then MP, Haji Ali Jatta, but Ridwan became the MP for the area. So for me, these are the 4 constituencies to look out for in the region.
Okay, Salam, your final thoughts on the constituencies and all that, and then we'll close.
Well, Laura remains a very tricky constituency, given that I mean, largely it is viewed that Cabo won it because of the split or division between Bidzidin and Abu, who at the time, Samson Abu, who was the incumbent but went independent. So when you look at the vote margin, I mean, Cabo, even with that, got 8,704. Bidzidin got 7,476, whilst Samson Abu got 5,651. It's generally thought that Samson Abu's votes were generally NDC votes. So when you combine that with Bidzidin's vote, then he'll be heading towards 13,000, which will be reflective of what the constituency has known in the past. But again, Anthony Cabo is now Deputy Regional Minister. He understands the Deputy Roads and Highways Minister. He's been youth organizer of the party. He understands the politics of the area and is close to a lot of the big shots in the party. Resource will not be his problem at all. Coupled with the fact that he's a royal from the town. Now, the paramount chief of the area is now Kabu, who is now the vice president of the National House of Chiefs. There's a way chieftaincy plays in these things. I mean, chiefs are not to play politics, but chiefs are influential in their own way. There's a way those things will play. That makes it very tricky because he has all those things going for him. However, the recent issues in his party, I don't know how influential his constituency chairman, who is currently suspended, is. But if indeed he's influential, then that will work to chip away some of the gains he has made. One other thing that may also go against him is the curse of incumbency. Incumbency advantage goes for him, but again, there's a curse of incumbency. If you've not won or you are not in power, there are things you can say. Once you are in power, of course, you are unable to, you cannot fulfill all promises. There will be things you will do to people that people will not be happy. And because you have the power, they will expect that you will do better. Now, the person on the other side can say, this man, has the power, he didn't do this for you. When I come, I'll do it for you. So those things may work against him like they will work against any incumbent. Okay. Not only Babin's place is quite interesting because Babin is no more. His boy, what's the name of the
Anthony Suma.
Anthony Suma is young, he's energetic. The MPP repeating a candidate, and Bernard Mona, if he loses this seat, he has nothing. Done. So he's a wounded lion, he's hungry, and he has to get something out of this. Okay. So that will make it very interesting. The dynamics are stark and interesting.
Okay. Thank you so much, gentlemen. Very interesting conversation around the Upper West region. Anna Seidu is with us at Citi FM and Citi TV, Salam Adono as well. Next week, we are now in the campaign platforms proper. We're coming across all the regions there as the campaign takes shape, as a few days to the election. So next week we are in your home regions, your hometowns, everywhere ourselves to gauge the election. So stick with us here on Citi TV, on the radio, on Citi FM. My name is Vivid Kai Loko. We'll return on Monday at 3 o'clock. Goodbye.
Voter's Diary is sponsored by Samsung. Samsung, inspire the world, create the future.
They say offense win games, but defense win championships. So far this season, it appears Jose Mourinho's Tottenham are doing very well. They